Recently, the federal government says it aims to strengthen and reform all regulatory frameworks that will not just facilitate seamless trade, but also enhance the ease of doing business, particularly for micro, small, and medium enterprises in the country. To speak on what this means for the Nigerian economy as well as the African continent is a financial business analyst, Kolawole Kehinde. You're welcome to Business Express.
Thank you, Ben. Good morning to you and good morning, Nigeria.
Okay, being part of this program from the very beginning, the stories we've reeled out, talking about the revenue from the customs, then we have also increased our debt service, meaning we are meeting our obligation as it should. In all of this, what's your take on the president's agreeing with not just Nigerians, the economic sphere, that Nigeria is going to do what it needs to do to grow the economy, saying Nigeria will not be a dumping ground of sorts? Does that mean steps are being taken, right steps are being taken to grow our production level?
Thank you, Benny. I think the president has been very vocal about ensuring that Nigeria diversifies economy, and you are aware that some of the first pronouncements he made actually was to, one, remove fuel subsidy. I think the other one that was really critical to his intervention was also the floating of the naira. And of course, those two had catalytic effects on the overall economy. But when you look at it from the macro space, you see that Nigeria, prior to the inauguration of this new administration, was swimming in debt. And that debt, we saw that we were actually using our revenue, 97% of our revenue in debt servicing. I think Mr. Waledu mentioned that number has dropped to about 63 to 65%, showing remarkable fiscal discipline from the federal government. Of course, that has also had its attendant challenges to the people, because that has, one, reduced the value of the naira and also reduced the purchasing power of the people. But an interesting thing is that it has also increased the number, the magnitude of imports of export that Nigerian businesses are opportuned to take. So when you look at it holistically, you see that there is a president that wants to, one, make sure that they protect the interest of businesses within its territorial space, which is Nigeria, and also ensure that we look inwards to generate revenue. You can see that our external debt servicing rose to about $3.5 billion. That's a whole lot of money. So now we're looking at a way whereby we generate money without borrowing, and that is what the president and this current government is doing.
Okay, now talking about generating money in country, in house, without actually depending on borrowing, we have certain bills, tax bills at the National Assembly, though some of it has been misunderstood. But the good thing is Nigeria is looking to progressive tax, where those who are struggling in businesses as well as households will enjoy some good level of exemptions on basic needs. Then for salary earners, for income earners, if you earning 100 or 1.5 million monthly downwards, you'll be exempted from tax if the process succeeds. In all of this, what is that icing on the cake to grow the economy, as it were, at this time?
Tax collection, tax driving revenue from tax collection. It's a foundational way for countries and nations to generate revenue, and it's also the lowest hanging fruit for every government to do. But when you look at the population, or the proportion of people paying taxes that is recognized by the government, and the taxes that are filtering into other people's pockets, you know that the government is not generating enough tax to meet the social interventions or other interventions that would be necessary to grow the economy. Now, the new tax reform bill is trying to streamline the amount of tax, I think from about 50 something to about 15. I beg you, I will need to really correct that.
Yes, they will get even a single digit, possibly 9.
Yeah, so you can see that what that means in essence is that we are going to have more transparency, and of course you give more into motivation for people to actually pay their taxes. Of course, today for small businesses, where I am a champion of, we are also always open to diverse taxes, tax forces coming to, if it's not fumigation, it's tenement rate, it's one rate or the other, and that never gets to the government, and you get to wonder, so where are these people going to? They've even become so emboldened that they will even file litigation against you, which the whole essence is to scare you. So there's been so much shenanigans going on in that collection space, and the federal government feels that it is now important and expedient that they streamline, and they also propose a single agency for the purpose of revenue collection. I think that's a master stroke for the government, and I think all well-meaning Nigerians should embrace it. I know there is an uproar in the National Assembly about this, and agitations from different regions on the fairness and the fairness of this tax bill. But by and large, I think when we go to the public debate and public hearing and other things, we can get to know more about these bills. And of course, I would ask the Nigerian Orientation Agency to really step up its game and try to simplify this bill, so that everybody in Nigeria will understand what this is all about. So there will be no shred of secrecy.
Okay, in all of this, we've seen a good number of monetary policies. We are seeing a traction in the results that are being churned in now. Now, talking about fiscal reforms that are ongoing, what's your assessment so far? And do you see that improving the living standards of Nigerians in the immediate time, or is it a long-term thing, in your opinion?
Okay, let's start with the fiscal policies. Government is trying to get more money and be more responsible in spending, and I think there's a whole lot that needs to be done in that space. And you can see that the federal government, through the mandate of the president, had come with several executive orders to make sure that the costs of doing business reduces drastically. Of course, the statistics are there, as at now Nigeria still ranks 131 out of 190 in the cost of ease of doing business, and that means that there is a whole lot of work that still needs to be done. Issue of access to, issue of regulation, issue of certification and standardization has been a major challenge for our exports to grow. Not that, of course, while we still produce at the subsistence level, Nigeria still produces, but you will be shocked that almost 90% of what we produce stay in the farm, in terms of, because one, lack of standardization, two, bad road linkages to the markets, and of course, inability to store and make sure that we process the raw materials to add value to it. I think it's important for us that we need to start to think about industrialization and ensuring that we have
this talk
value
about
to it.
Industrialization and diversification has been long coming. Yes, we've seen pockets of actions and we are seeing them yielding results, but some Nigerians might say the process is slow. Now, one of the hindrances has been access to land, easy access to land, and some of those tariffs, though we're seeing some of it coming in the reforms of the National Assembly, talking about taxation for small businesses or big businesses, as it were. But some of these challenges actually don't lie in the capital, talking about the seat of the federal capital now, but mostly in the subnationals. What do you think can be done to further simplify these processes to ensure that ease of doing business is improved?
Okay, let me first speak to the issue of land. You know, that issue of land is situated to the subnational. Just like you mentioned, the governors actually have access, have the mandate to use and to deploy the land and to even allocate land to whoever it is. But we also know that today, because of the activities of estate developers and all of that, it becomes so difficult for us to, one, access land. It's important that the government must look at how look at the Land Act use. We've been talking about this for a decade or so. The cost and the cost one and the possibility of people owning land becomes much more stringent as the day goes. Probably because the governor has a sole right on allocation of land, issue of certificate of incorporation, certificate of occupancy. You know, it's just like a camel trying to, go through the eye of a needle. You know, it's really a challenging thing. Not to not talk of people that are farmers that just need some hectares of land just to farm for a while and all of that. Those things need to be sorted out. And we hope that each state will localize this Land Use Act and ensure that they create that catalytic impact to ensure that the 10 million hectares target that the federal government is trying to achieve, it comes to stream. Because when there are no lands, it becomes so difficult to farm and to do that. You know, the agriculture is still a lowest hanging fruit for diversification, because Nigeria has more than 62 million hectares of arable land, and we've not even cultivated half of that. So you could see that Nigeria is sitting on a gold mine, but we don't have the tools to pick the gold. You get, so that's really the paradox that we find ourselves in.
Thank you, Mr. Kolawole Kehinde, for your thoughts at this time. Thank you.
Thank you so much.